Hello, Abnormal Investigations. Welcome to a Saturday. Hope you all are having a great day today. Saturdays are days that we usually spend together here at the house with one another and just spending time and relaxing and just enjoying the weekend. Hope you all are able to do the same. I got another encounter for you, and we'll go ahead and jump right into this one. I'll never forget the terrifying encounter I had with the mysterious bipedal canine creature back in 2013. I was 16 years old at the time and was spending the weekend at my grandfather's small cattle farm in northeast Arkansas. My friend Jackson and I had been waiting all year for the first gun hunt of deer season, which was scheduled for the first weekend of November. We arrived at my grandfather's farm on Friday evening, eager to get some rest before our early morning hunt. The next morning we woke up at 4:30 a.m., still tired and groggy from our late night. We quickly got dressed, grabbed our guns and gear, and headed out the door. The cold, stale morning air hit us like a slap in the face as we made our way down the driveway toward the gate to the pasture where our hunting stand was located. The walk was about a mile and a half, and the only light we had to guide us was from a couple of headlamps my grandfather had given us for Christmas the year before. We eventually made it out to our hunting spot and got set up, just like we had done hundreds of times before. As we waited for the shooting light, we started playing Flappy Bird on our phones to pass the time. Suddenly, we heard some leaves rustling in the distance. My friend whispered to me, "They're moving early this morning." We quickly shut off our phones and let our eyes adjust to the darkness again. That's when I caught a glimpse of something slowly walking out of the creek and into the pasture from in front of us. At first, I thought it was just a deer, but then I let a little bit of light from the horizon shined in, and I could hear also a small growl or a howl. We froze, unsure what to do next. My friend whispered to me, "That's not a deer, man." "What the hell is that?" I replied. "I'm not sure, man. I think it may be just a big stray dog or something, but it sounds sick." As we stared at the unknown animal in the darkness, my friend accidentally dropped his phone onto the base of the deer stand. The animal suddenly stooped, and then it stood up on its hind legs, and my friend freaked out and pointed his headlamp directly at it. What we saw was unlike anything we had ever seen before. The creature was canine in appearance, similar to a large German shepherd, but it was standing on two legs like a human. It had to be at least 7 foot tall, towering over the old fence that ran along the property line. The creature stood there for what felt like an eternity, maybe 3 or 4 seconds, before dropping back down to all fours and darting back into the woods. I turned to my friend and said, "Let's get out of here." We grabbed our gear and we ran back to the house as fast as we could. When we arrived, my grandfather was sitting on the couch watching TV and drinking coffee. He looked up at us and said, "You boys are back early." He said, "Did you give up already?" We tried to explain what had happened, but he just laughed it off and told us we had wild imaginations. He even made a joke about us and our friends used to play in those woods when we was kids, and the scariest thing that we ever saw, he said, was each other. We were both still shaken by what we had seen, and my grandfather's dismissive attitude didn't help. Just then the phone rang. It was my dad calling to check on the cows. I don't know what he said to my grandfather, but his expression changed instantly. He got up from the couch, grabbed his old SKS rifle, and told us to stay inside and watch TV until he got back. My friend and I were left sitting there wondering what was going on. A couple of hours later probably had passed, and my grandfather returned with my dad. They both looked like they'd seen a ghost. My dad told us that we wouldn't be hunting for the rest of the weekend and that he needed to call my mom to come pick us up as soon as possible. I asked him what was going on, but he just said that the door to the barn was open and that 12 calves that were inside were either ripped apart or were missing. My grandfather called the local sheriff to report the incident, and soon the police were on the farm investigating. I remember standing outside the barn with the officers, but my grandfather wouldn't let me go inside to see what had happened or to hear the conversations. The rest of that Saturday was a blur. My dad and grandfather cleaned out the barn and disposed of the carcasses. That night at supper, my grandfather asked me if I had been pulling his leg about what I had saw that morning. I assured him that we were telling him the truth. The rest of that day, my grandfather seemed worried. He just sat there staring at me with a blank expression. We had supper, and when we finished supper to go to bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that my grandpa and dad had seen something. Probably what I had seen, or at least the massacre that they had seen in the barn they knew wasn't nothing normal that had done this. Nothing ever happened again after that. What do you think happened? It sounds like something probably passing through. What you all seen, you're probably very lucky that y'all made it out of there. But I would say this one was passing through since you didn't see it again, and the way that it just shredded the stuff was kind of like it didn't care because it wasn't going to be around to have to worry about being hunted. It was just passing through and probably just went in there and just out of the meanness of them things, what they are, it shredded them and probably had a little meal and moved on. But I would say y'all are pretty lucky you made it out of there. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great Saturday, and until next time, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner, and we'll see you on the next one.